All right. So financial derivatives. So what is a derivative? Like, would anyone like to chime in over this?
Isn't it
No
a
one?
contract that gets its value from another source?
That's correct. So what are derivatives like? In finance, a derivative is a contract that derives its value from the performance of an underlying entity or an asset. It can be anything, like it can be a stock, it can be a commodity, it can be like something based like we have over here UDAW, which depends on the number of integrations. So when the price of the underlying changes, the value of the derivative also changes. For example, UDAW. So UDAW is an example of derivative. The value of UDAW depends on the number of integrations, which is directly related to efforts put in by all of the community. The UDAW doesn't have its value like on its own. Its value depends on actions of the community, which in turn its value depends on the number of integration, which is directly connected to the actions and efforts put in by all of the community. So that's how UDAW derives its value. This is an example of derivative. Another example would be the value of gold futures contract is derived from the value of the underlying asset, that is gold. Moving ahead, participants in derivative market. So like who all get into derivative market and what is the reason or what is the purpose when someone gets into a position in a derivative market? The first one is quite important, and I think this is the main reason why derivative market uh, derivative market like it was formed, and that is hedging. So who is a hedger? A hedger is someone who is worried about the price movement of the underlying and therefore gets into a derivative contract to reduce his risk. Are you guys aware like how someone hedges his position or anything about that? Anyone?
That would be like that would be like your farmer who wants to hedge against the cost of their wheat, for example.
Awesome, yeah, that's a good example. I'll be speaking about this example more in the coming slides. Yeah, that's a good one. Next, like let's say the farmer is hedging. So there is someone who is getting into the derivative market to hedge his or her position. But as we all know, there are gamblers everywhere who would like to, take profit out of by speculating something. So let's say a farmer is getting into the derivative contract by he's getting into a forward or futures contract because he want to mitigate his risks by price decline of wheat, which can be very which can be quite bad for him. So he gets into forward a future contract to mitigate his risk. Whereas on the other hand, let's say I think price of wheat in India is going to decline due to surplus produce. So I'm on the other hand like betting. I'm getting double voice. Hello. All right. So I'm on the other hand like I'm betting that price will decline. So basically I'm speculating on wheat price. So I'm a speculator in this market. And third one is arbitrager. Like these people, they like a person who simultaneously enters into transaction in two or more markets to take advantage of the discrepancies between price in these markets. Like being involved in crypto, I'm pretty sure that all of you might have come across situations where price of a crypto is quite different between two exchanges, and like it's the talk everywhere. Like sometimes recent example was price of Ethereum Classic, I think, which was quite high on Coinbase, if I'm not wrong. Anyone aware of that? It happened, I guess, a month ago. But since depositing Ethereum Classic on Coinbase, it required around like 120 confirmation or like something like that. So the time required to make the movement of ETC from some other exchange to Coinbase was quite a huge amount of time. But still, the price gap was quite huge, like more than 30-40%. I'm talking about. Quick question, and I want answers from you guys. Do you think any of these, these three people, are not good for the market? I'll say it again. Like, do you think speculators or arbitrage they are not good for market in general? They shouldn't be there. What do you think, guys?
They're huge for the market. We need them to play their part. They have a lot of functions, whether we realize it or not. I'm not the best one to speak about the functions that they have, but I know they have some solid functions.
Hmm. Anyone else?
Well, yeah, that kind of keeps the market alive. I'd imagine it's kind of like I look at it for an easy way to think about it is when you go get gas. I can go over here and get gas for $2, or I can go over here and get gas for 250. You know, so it kind of keeps the market keeps it balanced a little bit.
That's correct. So all these participants, they kind of keep the market alive is that concept, and also like they keep the market efficient. Because let's say if arbitrages weren't there, so on an exchange like price of an asset is around $100, and on another exchange the price the that same asset is trading at $130. If arbitrages weren't there to to take profit from this opportunity, the price discrepancy would still be there, and it wouldn't be solved. So arbitrage like they play a good role in keeping the markets efficient, and by efficient market I mean the price of the assets should be nearly same across various exchanges, and they should have good liquidity. And how the arbitrages try to keep the prices same is that, like, let's say there are two exchanges, Kraken and Binance for example. The price of the price of a crypto at Kraken is $100, and on Binance it is trading at $120. So what will happen? Arbitrageurs will like see this opportunity right away, and all of them will start buying price at Kraken at $100. So the buying pressure builds up at Kraken, which slowly increases the price from 100 to 101, 102, and so on. It goes on till 110. Simultaneously, they all are moving their assets to Binance to dump them at $120. So at Binance, the selling pressure increases, and it like starts to push the price down from $120. So it gradually the price over there declines from $120 to 119, 118. It goes on like till the price across both the exchanges is nearly the same. The reason I am saying is nearly the same because it cannot be exactly the same, because even if there is some minor discrepancy, like let's say at Kraken it is $114 and at Binance it is $115, at that in arbitrages won't jump on for this minor profit, because they also have to factor in the transaction cost and the time, the risk factor, because buying at Kraken and depositing that at Binance, it will cost around it will have transaction costs, it will take some time, so they have to factor all those things before making an arbitrage transaction. So until the price is nearly the same, arbitrages will do their role and try to keep the markets efficient. So the answer is yeah, like they are good participants and they try to keep the markets efficient across all the markets basically. Any questions, anyone? All right, I'll move ahead. But if anyone has any questions regarding this topic, feel free to you can stop me and ask the question right away. Types of derivatives. So basically, there are four derivatives. These are also called as derivative instruments. These are forward contracts, future contracts, options, and swaps. So in today's call, we will only be discussing forward and futures contract. We'll discuss on options and maybe on swaps on the later calls. Let's talk about forward contract. A forward contract is a customized contract between two parties to buy or sell an asset at a specified price on a future date. Forward contract can be used for hedging or speculation, although its non-standardized nature makes it particularly useful for hedging. They are traded over the counter. Over the counter means like forward contracts are basically customized as per two parties needs, and they are like quite, they aren't traded on any centralized exchange, like they are very, I would say, personalized. Let's say me and Datcoin, we want to get into some contract, so that then we'll have to like use forward contract to like to get into an agreement. Forward contract as compared to future contract has counterparty risk because we are dealing with the other party directly. There is no middleman or intermediary such as a centralized exchange to take care about the risk over here. Let's talk about this example. A farmer has 1 million bushels of wheat to sell 6 months from now and is concerned about the potential decline in the price of wheat. We have a mill which needs wheat as a raw material and is concerned with increase of price of wheat as it can hurt its profitability. The spot price of wheat is $1 per bushel. To avoid future uncertainties and lock his profit, the farmer gets into a forward contract. Sorry, I made a mistake of it. The farmer gets into a forward contract with the mill to sell 1 mil. And I'm getting a lot of disturbance. Like, whose mic is it?
Uh,
Fruity can you
S-
mute the uh,
Esther needs to mute herself. Jackman needs to mute herself. Those are two that I've. Oh,
Fruity Can you server mute the person?
He's probably AFK. Can you, I believe whoever's leading this can mute them. Just click on their name and hit mute. Can y'all hear me? Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, I
we
can hear you. I thought
Okay.
Hitton was
yeah,
doing
yeah,
the.
yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, you can mute them if you just click on their name.
All right.
Thought you were doing dishes for a second there, Hitton.
That's better.
Let's talk about this example. So the farmer gets into the contract with the mill and he agrees to sell all of his produce, which is 1 million bushels, after 6 months to the mill at a price of $1 per bushel. So let's discuss like if the farmer is going to make some profit or is he going to lose out money or he is like going to break even. We have three scenarios. So let's say after 6 months have elapsed and the price of wheat, just remember that the price of contract was $1 per bushel, all right? So after 6 months, the price of wheat, if the price of wheat is $1 per bushel, will the farmer or the mill make any profit or loss? What do you think, guys?
Well, I think they'd have a loss, right? Because they paid for protection, but the price didn't change. Would that be correct?
I'll answer like after I get more.
Oh, sorry.
Anyone else would like
Am I
to
jumping
chime in? Yeah. Fruity Cup, Careless, what do you think? 6 months before the farmer gets into a contract to sell his produce at $1 per bushel. After 6 months, the price of wheat in the market is actually $1. So, do you think
He's
farmer has like made any profit or loss by getting into this contract?
the farmer's actually taking a loss because he's in a contract to sell the bushels at $1, and the bushels are now at 110 per bushel. So he's losing out on 10 cents of profit. The mill is actually getting it for more, is paying more for than what they otherwise would have if they were relying on the market price.
I'm sorry, you're discussing about the second scenario, which is $1.10. I'm just talking about the first scenario over here. If the price is $1, do you
Okay.
think if then the farmer or the mill would be in profit or loss scenario over here.
No, it's a break even on that example because the contract's for $1. $1 is
Well,
$1.
Well, did he pay for the options? Did he pay for the contracts? I guess is the question. Maybe I
We
missed
can
that.
ignore that. We can ignore that. They
Okay.
didn't have any.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Okay.
All right. So if the price after 6 months is remains at $1 per bushel, then the farmer and the mill will be at, like, break even, getting into the forward contract. Like, even if the mill buys from the farmer or from the market, they are getting the wheat at the same price. So they haven't actually made profit or made losses in this particular forward contract. So let's talk about example 2. So let's say after 6 months, market price of wheat is $1.10 per bushel, but oh my god, who is it this time?
Easy, mute yourself, man.
Oh, no, it's good.
Sorry. Can I get access to this slide? Like the slide for this presentation? Like after this.
Sure, sure, I'll share it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, guys, talking about the second scenario. If the price of wheat is $1.10 per bushel, is the farmer losing on this forward contract, or is he making a profit over here?
Yes.
What, yes?
Yeah, because the contracts for. Oh wait, no, wait. Because he contracted for $1, right? He's actually
Right.
losing
Just
Farmer's
now.
break
losing.
even. Let's break even. Oh, it's break even, right? What's the price
Wait,
of
what?
wheat right now? It's $1. It was
The,
$1 6 months ago. So how's it just break even?
the contract is for $1. The current price is $1.10. The
I
mill
thought
is
no, no,
still
no, no,
paying
no,
a
no, no,
dollar,
no,
so they're
no, no,
losing
no,
money.
no. I think we're still on the first example, unless I'm mistaken.
No,
No, we're
Where
on the second one.
we are on
okay,
the second one.
apologies. Okay, apologies. All right, got it. So yeah,
Alright,
then
anyone
he'd
else would
lose
like to
money,
share
of
his or her
course.
thoughts?
Already had
That's
to step out
correct.
for a moment, but I think the farmer bought a contract for $1 per bushel, and the current price is 110.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Correct.
correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Right. So then he's losing in this case.
Mhm.
That's correct. So in second scenario, farmer is for 1 million bushel, farmer is losing $100,000 over here, and the mill is actually profiting $100,000. So let's talk about third scenario. If the price drops to 90 cents per bushel, then what would be the payout? Like, I need number this time. How much is the farmer going to profit?
Farmer's going to profit the $100,000, and the mill's going to be out the $100,000.
That's correct. All right, guys, moving ahead. Anyone have any doubt in this example, or find it confusing? I'm like open to go over it again.
I think it was just confusing for me because I wasn't sure what the other slide said, like at 90 cents per bushel. I know he's missing 10 cents per, but I wasn't sure exactly how much it was. It just made it a little confusing for me. I
All right,
got
so
you
you
though.
can, yeah, if you want, you can read the example again. I just moved to that slide.
You can move on. I'm sorry. I got it. Thank you.
Alright. Talking about futures contract. Like, does anyone know what's the difference between a futures and forward contract?
Mm,
So what I think I got from the videos was that the forward contract is more of a peer-to-peer agreement, while the futures contract is more of a standardized, regulated, can be bought and sold freely on an exchange, with pretty much similar terms as a forward contract. It's just that it's more generalized, I guess. So in this case, the farmer is getting into a contract with the mill specifically, but a futures contract would allow any number of farmers to get into this same kind of deal with any number of mills. Like they would just buy a contract that says, okay, the holder of this contract can buy $1,000 of wheat at $1 per bushel.
That's correct. So Careless is asking a question in the text hub. A question about forwards. Does it remove the counterparty risk if you add an option? I think Professor Fad touched upon this by adding performance to both sides. It should, right? Careless, like we are comparing forwards to futures over here. So compared to futures, I'll get back to this question like in a while after I've explained about futures contract. Let's move ahead. Futures contract. Basically, a futures contract is a standardized version of forward contract. Futures contract are traded on an exchange. They are not traded peer to peer. Main difference between forward and futures contract is that futures are traded on exchange and forward contracts are dealt over the counter. I'll again need to server mute someone. Who is it this time?
Maisie this time.
I'll mute myself in case it's me.
No worries. Main difference is that for futures are traded on an exchange, they are standardized. The lot size, the price, and like expiry, all those dates are quite fixed and like they are same for all the participants in the market. Whereas in forward, it can be customized at what price we want to get in. We can negotiate the price, etc. And like we can even decide the terms of the agreement. We can decide the date we want to settle the contract. Whereas in futures, like everything is like already pre-decided by the exchange, and it's quite standard as compared to forward. Future market definitely has more liquidity because everyone like because exchanges have a great exposure as compared to like one farmer dealing with one mill in a forward contract. Therefore, futures market has more liquidity since the contract size, settlement and other terms are standardized and the same for all the people trading it on the exchange. And talking about the risk, let's do the question that you asked. The counterparty risk is negligible in futures since there's an exchange as the middleman and it's responsible for honoring the contract. Whereas in forward contract, like it's peer-to-peer contract, so as compared to futures, there's a high amount of counterparty risk and like forward contracts. As we all know, like in futures, like let's say if someone is like margin, then the exchange to prevent counterparty risk and to like uh, and to like also the pay of his or her margin requirements and all those stuff. Exchange has like all the procedures in place to keep the contracts valid and like and to make sure all the contracts are fulfilled over there. So that is the reason like futures contract they have very negligible counterparty risk as compared to forward contracts. So guys, like this was about forward and futures contract. Do you have any questions? I'm not sure I get your question, Careless. Yeah, me too. So, guys, before we wrap up this call, we'll have a small quiz in the text hub. Everyone know where like everyone can manage their way to text hub. I'll just start the quiz. The winners will be awarded in this quiz. Let's see who gets all the right answers. Be quick, guys. Okay, at least it is 21 seconds, not 10 seconds. I'll increase the time next time.
And I want this to be 5 seconds long next time.
And we have coach in a little while asking me to go faster.
Joking.
Last two questions. I think I needed to adjust the timing regarding this question. It was
Oh,
only
these are
15
so
seconds.
brutal. Some of these are so brutal, Hidden. What is this?
That's what was like 5 seconds.
It's awesome.
Dude, I can't even think. I'm just clicking.
When in doubt, click the most popular answer.
And think the people following you, Fruity Cup. Oh my god, Ritus, he got 8 questions correct. Damn.
Good job.
But honestly, I think if it's quite quick enough, it's more fun.
It's great for the geniuses.
Ritus, when Pope,
Still counting on my fingers from the
yes,
first one.
everyone is going to get a Pope. Surf, do we have the Pope?
Yeah, it's the code is super U, capital S. You gotta message the co-op bot.
There's way too much feedback coming from people. Can everybody mute themselves so we can hear?
I'll do that.
Hey guys, the code is super U, capital S, UPER, capital U. Message the co-op bot, please.
Could you please repeat the code?
Yeah, the code is super U, capital S UPER. Okay, capital S, lowercase UPER, capital U.
Oh, that's great. Guys, no one DMs me after the call asking for code.
And you know that meme with the guy in front of the two buttons and he's sweating, bro. That every time the numbers start popping up, and it's like, okay, plus or minus 500. That's me right there. It's like you got 10 seconds.
Every time we have
I'll
to
add
mute
more.
somebody else, I'm starting to sweat.
I'll add more 5 seconds for you in the next quiz. But Fruity Cup, like since I'm not getting like anyone else is not chiming in, and it was first time for you. So I want to ask, like, how do you want to proceed ahead with things? Like, I want like after the course ends, like after we cover options, I want basically everyone who has started to be quite well versed in like forward futures and options, and they understand the basics of how things work and how payout and how the profit or loss is calculated in a position. So how do you think we should move ahead? Do you have any feedback on that?
I think we should just purely go right into UMA products and just talk about how it relates and all that stuff.
Honestly, going
Completely
right into
agree.
UMA products will be confusing if you don't understand the basics of call and put options and the basic payout structure, because UMA products like range tokens, they have they are quite technical. So for to
Mm-hmm.
understand that, you should understand like how call and put works, and how a position, like how a particular position in a call option is in profit or loss. Once you have that cleared, then you can like move ahead with UMA option, and that we have in the line, like Clayton mentioned, like maybe like in the next week after we have covered options, someone from the team will take a session and guide how UMA products work.
So, I think that like our goal should be like finding how do we translate what it is we're learning here into simple terms to help others, because we're taking a whole course which requires quite a bit of time and dedication, right? So I think that our challenge is like, how do we condense this into something that we can share with people we're trying to help educate?
Yes,
Does that
I
make,
definitely
does that
agree with
make
that.
sense? Okay.
And I do think that